All right, everyone, welcome back to the land of Chem. I am your host and the author. My name is Jeffrey Durham. Thank you all so much for joining me again. All right, everyone, welcome back. This is Sunday Site Visit 53, and today we are heading to Saqqara to examine the ancillary acoustic amplification chambers inside the Pyramid of Wunis, to re-examine the calcite crystal conduit system running below the limestone pavement of the Eastern Temple, and explore the Valley Temple and Harbor area. If this is the type of content you're interested in regarding the ancient technology of a lost civilization utilizing physics and chemistry, and the function of the Egyptian pyramids and other ancient structures from across the world, this is the channel for you. So please subscribe to the Land of Chem here on YouTube. Don't forget to click that little notification bell so that you do not miss the new episodes that premiere twice per week. Please like, comment, and stay tuned if you want to help support this channel and get access to exclusive research and unreleased footage that you will not see anywhere else. Check out the members-only channel and thelandofchem.com if you want to pick up a copy of the book or grab some merch. If you want to follow me on Instagram, my handle is @thelandofchem. Also, don't forget, after you finish watching this video, please go subscribe to our two new channels here on YouTube, Egyptian Trash Cats, for all you cat lovers out there, and Egypt Eats for food reviews. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, thank you all so much for the support. I think that's it for today's intro. So without further ado, let's get right to it. All right, everyone, here we go with tonight's episode. And to begin, one of the most significant research projects that I have ever produced is now available exclusively on the members-only channel. Episode 9, The Function of the Osiris Shaft, featuring an explanation of the function of this underground chamber system, almost 100 feet below the Giza plateau. Also featuring some new, never-before-seen footage from a recent private special permission entry into the site. So if you want access to this type of exclusive research and unreleased footage, come join us on the dark side at the Land of Chem members-only channel, link in the video description below. Now, on to the Pyramid of Wunis, which you can see here, courtesy of my colleagues at the Osireion project, and we will be venturing inside the structure here, exploring the Eastern Temple over here, and in the video, you will also hear me discussing the quote-unquote dry moat, which you can see here, which, in my opinion, is absolutely not dry at all. It was filled with water. A quote-unquote dry moat makes absolutely no sense in the context of the surrounding environment, but that is what they call it. Next, you will also hear me mention the underground labyrinth of Hotep Shemui below the Eastern Temple of the Pyramid of Wunis, which you can see here, and a few diagrams so you can see this subterranean structure a bit better and get an idea of the complexity of the construction itself, which predates the above-ground portions of this site. Now, here is the calcite crystal conduit system, which was the primary objective for today's expedition, with only 2 fragments that remain here and a third one way over here in the corner. The rest is completely destroyed, intentionally, in my opinion, as you will hear discussed in the footage. And last but not least, the Valley Temple of Wunis and the harbor area that you can see here that we explore at the end of today's site visit. And I have a few major surprises in this episode, but I will just let you see it for yourself. So now, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoy Sunday Site Visit 53 from Saqqara. All right, everyone, welcome back. And today, we're here in Saqqara. And I have a very specific area on the agenda to investigate today. Just checking out the Pyramid of Wunis. And the step pyramid here to the north. And after extensive research on the red quartzite conduit system at the pyramid of Osireion in Abu Sir, I began to realize that there may have been an alternative function for the conduit system carved into the white calcite crystal in the Eastern Temple adjacent to the Pyramid of Winis. So today we're going to have a look and see if we can document the differences between these two systems, and I will provide justification for the new conclusion that I've come to regarding the function of the conduit system here at the Pyramid of Winis. Really excited to be back in Saqqara today. It's nice and peaceful. Again, we usually steer clear of the tourist path and come through the backside. Of course, there's my wife Alexa, Ancient Odysseys. We're also going to take a journey inside of the Pyramid of Winis. Working on another project that I've kind of provided some teasers for in the last few episodes, and when we finally release all this data, you'll see why we've kind of kept it quiet. And here are some fragments of black basalt that I've been meaning to document. And as we've been discussing, black basalt is a material used for heat storage. So I've been meaning to try and determine the original location for those pieces of black basalt. And now we will cross through the threshold between the two pillars. These, of course, being made from red granite. And for those of you that have been following along, this symbol here is very similar to the symbol Nebu, which is the symbol for gold. All right, so now we're going to go inside the Pyramid of Winis, and then we'll come back out here to the Eastern Temple to investigate the area of primary concern for today's expedition. I haven't seen any data in the archaeological research on the site that indicates that there was any black basalt here in the floor of the Eastern Temple. So we'll have to take a look. Let's see what we can find. All right, let's go inside. All right, so we just came down the northern inlet shaft, and I've shown this in previous episodes, but I just wanted to document this, as we have found this exact same patch at the bottom of the northern inlet shaft here in the Pyramid of Winis. It's also in the exact same location in the Pyramid of Teti I, also here in Saqqara, and also in the final pyramid on the Giza plateau. There is a hole down here in the exact same location at the bottom of the northern inlet shaft. And this emulates the design of the Red Pyramid, which also has a pit at the bottom of the northern inlet shaft, which, as explained in previous episodes, is used to introduce water into the reaction chamber system. And it's a bit of a busy day in here, so we're going to sit tight for 1 sec, and then we will examine the area of primary interest inside the pyramid today. All right, hang on 1 second. Now we are here inside the ancillary chambers adjacent to the two reaction chambers in the center of the structure. And let me swap here. You take the jug. Okay. And our mission for today inside the Pyramid of Winis, so we try to get rid of that. There we go. Has been accomplished. And I'll put a teaser of that in here in just a moment. And I'm sure you can hear that as soon as I step into this area, there are some very profound acoustic properties inside of this chamber. So I'm basically backed into the corner here. And I came in here with an acoustical engineer who completely agreed with my idea about the function of this chamber, which is for ultrasound amplification. So we've been discussing how the red granite and the crystalline quartz interact with the electric field to generate the ultrasound. So the ultrasound vibrations are not generated inside of this chamber because this is a complete limestone chamber, but rather this is an amplification chamber. And you can see in here there's no hieroglyphs, there's no decorations. This one here in the center. Say hello to everyone.
Hey everyone.
This one here in the center, which is the largest of the three. And then this one over here. And I'm doing my best to demonstrate the qualities of this chamber. Whoa. Without actually doing that, because the guards will come in here and tell me to stop doing what I'm doing. Okay, so now I'm going to put in a little clip of what we were doing inside here. I hope you enjoy it.
What is that? Yeah. Play it.
All right. And finally got a minute here inside of the primary chamber. Again, in previous Sunday site visits, I documented the channels that run along the top of the ceiling here. The ceiling does not precisely meet the wall, and there is a channel that runs along the upper portion of the chamber. Here, calcite crystal, limestone. So the entire back portion of the chamber now trying to evade the group that just came in here.
Only one piece, one and this two. This is the small that we go right inside. Before the ferrous, the down, after the ferrous.
So let me cut here for 1 sec, and then we will resume our exploration of the chamber. One thing I'll point out here, you can see this square hole in the floor right here. We found this exact same square hole in both the Pyramid of Oniis and the Pyramid of Teti. Again, an indication that there was a functional aspect to these various holes that are in all of these pyramid structures.
Thank you so much. Wow.
All right, so here we have the container itself. And I've never noticed how blackened the inside of this container is. You can see here, particularly, how blackened the upper portion of this container is. And you can see that staining all the way across and through here and in through here. It looks to start at about the same point here and below. And then up here is very, very blackened and stained. That's not the original color of the container itself. Here you can see the texture of the container itself. And let me cut real quick, I'll be right back. All right, everyone. The interior chambers of the Pyramid of Oniis just got bombarded with a ton of tourist groups. لا شكرا. صديقي أنا بشتغل. لا that's okay, ما فيش مشكلة, it's okay. Okay. So bombarded with several groups of back-to-back tourists. And one of the things about coming to Saqqara is the area is open until 3, but you have to get into the Pyramid of Wanis by 11 a.m. So you got to come here early, and it's very close to 11 a.m. right now, so everybody's trying to get inside the pyramid. So we'll have to resume that at a later date. But I was beginning to explain the configuration of the chamber with the calcite crystal on the back third of the chamber and the heating element. The shukran. The heating element. The black Greywick container, which I have a specific research episode coming up explaining the operation of that entire system, including the chemical that was being produced, coming up soon. So now that we're here on the outside, I want to show you something that I don't think I've documented before. Which is this huge channel in through here. So this is an ancient flood channel that would have brought water all the way up to the side of the pyramid. And you can see here all of the river stones and flint. So during the dynastic period, when the Nile was flooding, water would have come right up here to the side of the temple. If we go even further back, during the Saharan wet period, which is the time period of interest for me in terms of the operation of the Egyptian pyramids, this entire channel would have been filled with water consistently. Much higher water levels across the board during the Saharan wet period. Water channel and the pyramid. So now we're going to take a walk here through the Eastern Temple. Pretty sure I've showed this before, but this is the underground labyrinth. Yeah, that's right. There's another labyrinth underground below the Eastern Temple here at the Pyramid of Wanis. It's known as the Labyrinth of Hotep Shemui. And my colleagues at the Osireion project have had access into that underground chamber system that runs beneath this entire complex. So we're going to start over here, and I'm going to show you a piece of the red quartzite conduit system that has been removed from its original location. We'll take a look down in here as well, which is one of the quote-unquote Persian shaft tombs. All right, so this block here is a huge piece of white calcite crystal. And you can see here the channel. So this block is a piece of the conduit system that runs below the floor of the Eastern Temple, which you can see over here. And we'll go see some of these blocks in their original position here in just a moment. The first thing we're going to look at here is the depth of this channel. And you'll notice that it's not very deep. It's also not very wide. It is a very, very shallow channel. And you can see here there's some breakages. Breakage here. more chips here. More fractures here at the bottom. All of these broken areas here. And anytime I see this, it looks to me like something was removed and chiseled out of here, and the stone was broken here in the process of removing something out of this channel. So I don't know if you can determine where I'm going with all this quite yet. But we're going to walk over here. So again, here is this channel that I just showed. It would have brought water all the way up to here. And even my conventional Egyptologist guide that's joined me on all of my tours has confirmed that this is a flood basin or a flood channel here. All right. So now, block of calcite crystal, block of calcite crystal. And here we have resumed the channel. You can see an exposed portion of it here. Goes under this block of limestone. So this is limestone paving, which would have been the floor. These immaculately finished blocks of calcite ran underneath the floor of the temple. See the channel here, going all the way through here. And the channel would have continued through the floor of this temple, which is all now completely destroyed. Joining this piece here. And again, here you can really clearly see how shallow that channel is. Now let's compare that to what we saw with the conduit system at the pyramid of Newgrange and Abu Sir, which is a nice, wide, deep channel indicative of transporting fluids, liquids, throughout the structure. And after comparing and contrasting those two systems, I no longer think that this is for moving fluids. I think there was a metal bar housed in this conduit system, which kind of completely changes the game in terms of the potential function and operation of the Eastern Temple system. And I'm walking over here to see if we can see any remains of that conduit system poking out here. So it would be buried somewhere under here. The line of this conduit goes here, up against this red granite piece here, and back in this direction. So let me say again exactly what I'm proposing. I basically think that there was a metal bar, a wire essentially, that was embedded into this piece of white calcite crystal. And this metal wire ran underneath the floor of this Eastern temple. This channel is too shallow for fluids. It has a completely different configuration and size than the channel at the Pyramid of Osireion in Abu Sir. It's not deep enough or wide enough to facilitate effective fluid transportation around the site. So I think they popped the piece of metal out of here, which would explain those chisels and those small fractures and breakages in the stone. You can see it here. And unfortunately, it just disappears back into the sand. So we don't know the extent of this white calcite crystal conduit housing here in the Eastern Temple of the Pyramid of Wanis, because there has been so much removed from this site. You can see here, this is all empty. There would have been white limestone paving blocks, calcite crystal laid underneath that house this channel or conduit. So now we'll take a look down in this thing. I always got to keep an eye on Lex. He just disappeared off into the distance over here, so. All right, so underneath these, here, here, and here, they're huge shafts. And this was confirmed by my friend Ragab, the lead archaeologist and one of the head inspectors here in Saqqara. We've seen him in previous videos. And these vertical shafts that go down into the bedrock connect into this one. I'm surprised. I just heard that Egyptologist guide said that they were utilizing water in the construction of these sites, and that this was a huge water-filled shaft, a hydraulic elevator that could have been used to float blocks up to the surface and into the construction site, which I've explained that same thing in regard to the hydraulic shaft systems, the water elevators on the Giza plateau. But you can see down inside this thing, hopefully you can see that there is a massive container down inside of this thing. It's what's known as one of the quote-unquote Persian tombs from later occupations of the site. So now we're going to investigate a little bit more here around the Eastern Temple and take you to some areas that I've never been to here adjacent to the Step Pyramid in Saqqara. Now we're resuming our examination of these calcite fragments here, and you can see this block was originally completely finished. The surface here. This block was finished here, and it looks like this part on the underside here may have been a part of the channel system. So the completely destroyed state of these calcite components supports the idea that there was something removed from these blocks of crystal, and they broke the entire thing apart to pop out the metal piece that once ran underneath this temple floor. Now, I know that this is a bit of a radical proposition, but I spent a lot of time examining those channels in Abu Sir, and there is a significant difference in the configuration of those channels and those here at the Pyramid of Wanis, which imply that there was a different function. So here, for example, and I can't say for sure that the channel that you can see here in this piece of red granite, I cannot say for sure what this was originally a part of, because again, it's just a granite fragment. But this is very similar to the width and depth of the channel at Abu Sir. You can see it's actually in two pieces here. There's one side of it here and the other piece of it here. The channel in the calcite crystal, we'll move over here for comparison, is a fraction of the size. It's maybe 25% the same volume. It is much more shallow and much more narrow. Making it less effective for the transportation of fluids. You can see here, this would be a very effective conduit or channel for moving liquids. And this piece of red granite, as compared to the piece of white calcite. And I'm just looking around here, outer edges of the temple, to see if that calcite makes a reappearance. You can see here there's some finished casing stones indicating that this was the edge of the temple here. Casing stones going down here into this pit area here. This would have originally been your satellite pyramid adjacent to the main structure. Here's the other inlet into the, or let's call it an entrance rather, to differentiate between the component that we were just examining. Here's the other entrance into the subterranean labyrinth. So there's an entrance here, and then there's an entrance here, and it spreads out in this direction below the floor of this eastern temple. So these chambers here are these three pits here, here, and here, which they call the quote-unquote Persian tombs. Here. And here. So unfortunately, it looks like they did a pretty effective job at basically destroying that entire white calcite crystal channel.
And I'm always shocked and disappointed, I guess, are the two terms to describe the feeling of how much has actually been removed from here. This whole thing would have been covered with finished stone. Paving stones, conduits and channels running below the structure. It's all gone. And only tiny fragments of scattered remains are still at the site. And I've showed this before, and also presented a component that could have fit into this type of dovetail mechanism. So you can see down here, there's a housing here. This dovetailed piece here. So this thing housed a sliding mechanism that slid down and locked into place here, that would have moved up and down in this channel. Here on the eastern side of the pyramid, in the area known as the quote-unquote offering chapel. And here's another just out of place by these two fragments of red granite. Look like they have a channel. Here's another piece of that quartzite. Again, this looks like an intentional housing of some sort. All right, so now I'll put in another little clip of the second part of the project that we've been working on here today at the Pyramid of Winis in Saqqara. Check this out. All right, now we are down here at the Valley Temple of the Pyramid of Winis, and the causeway continued up into this direction toward the main pyramid complex. And what you can see here surrounding the Valley Temple was the harbor. If I was standing here during the time of the construction and operation of these pyramids, I would be underwater. And these ramps were used to access the structure after the boats had been docked. So water would have come right up into here, filling this entire area. can imagine how beautiful this structure would have been in its original condition. All of this area here filled with water. And a lot of what you see here is modern restoration. You can see here the reconstruction of these red granite pillars. But there are a few areas of the structure that are still original. Specifically these pieces back here, which are also calcite crystal. The same material that we were just investigating in the Eastern Temple adjacent to the Pyramid of Winis. These are not limestone blocks. It's white calcite crystal. And huge fragments of red granite. Also see over here there are some column or pillar bases made from red quartzite here. Modern restoration of these columns. And this area in the harbor and the dock. So this area would have been filled with water. Boats could dock here at the site. And another access ramp here. So you can imagine this area completely flooded with water. Dock your boat. Walk up the ramp to access the temple. Perfect way to end the day here in Saqqara. And from here you can get a really good view of the entire valley temple of the Pyramid of Winis. And the structure went all the way around here, flanked on both sides by the ancient harbor for Saqqara. And we've documented how all of the pyramid sites all had their individual harbors. Giza had a harbor, Saqqara had a harbor, and I see a piece of black stone over here, and this is kind of a perfect conclusion for today's visit because we were unable to determine the original location of that piece of black basalt that we saw. This looks like black granite here. This is not basalt, this is black granite. So the original location for those basalt fragments adjacent to the Pyramid of Winis are still to be determined. But hope you guys enjoyed today's Sunday site visit. Until next time, masalema.
All right, everyone, that is it for today's video. This was Sunday Site Visit 53 from the Pyramid of Wanis in Saqqara. I really hope you enjoyed today's video, and in the next episode of the series, I will finally be revealing research regarding the perplexing and mysterious blue stone of ancient Egypt. You heard that right, and this is an episode you do not want to miss. So if you're interested in the ancient technology of a lost civilization utilizing physics and chemistry, and the function of the Egyptian pyramids and other ancient structures from across the world, this is the channel for you. So please subscribe to the Land of Chem here on YouTube. Click that little notification bell, like, comment, and stay tuned. If you want to help support the channel, check out the Land of Chem members only section at thelandofchem.com. Links in the video description below. If you want to follow me on Instagram, my handle is @thelandofchem. Also, don't forget, after you finish watching this video, please go subscribe to our 2 new channels here on YouTube. Egyptian Trash Cats, for all you cat lovers out there, and Egypt Eats for food reviews. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, thank you all so much for the support. I think that's it for today's episode. So I will see you next time.
Yo, are you still watching this? Please subscribe to the Land of Chem here on YouTube and click that little notification button. New videos coming out every single week. And check out this other episode. Come on, do it. Do it now.